Hey, JJ here with the Art of Value. So today I'm going to talk about an Australian microcap. Going to get into the weeds a little bit. I will put first few seconds on Twitter, and if you're seeing this on Twitter, click the link, one of the links in the tweet to go to your favorite podcast and videos on YouTube and Spotify. Okay, so Advance ZincTek is an Australian microcap, and as I said, we're going to get into a little bit of the weeds, which is a little bit unusual for this podcast. I've been doing shorter ones recently, but this takes as long as it takes because I am invested in this company, and they provided a market update on the 1st of June 2022. And so it's been a while since I've actually looked at this. We talk about the COVID beneficiary companies, which soared during the pandemic and have come pretty much a lot of them crashing back to the earth. With inflated expectations, and now the trough of heading towards the trough of disillusionment. So, but this company was not helped by the pandemic. It involves zinc oxide sunscreen, in a big way, and so I go through this in the update, so let's have a look at this. But first of all, the stock price. Let's have a look at this. And it's actually down from the peak. The peak was like June 2019. I didn't buy it then, didn't own it then. It's down 70%, but I did buy it, and as it was coming down, I'm down 45% right now, I think, which is okay. I mean, it's a microcap. If we invest in microcaps, we've got to expect some high volatility, especially in periods like this. But of course, I wish that I bought it later, started buying a bit later, but there you go. And so let's see what they have to say, and I've got some past financials to compare, and things are getting better. Obviously, I mean, there are still issues, supply chain issues and travel issues, but a big part of the market for this company is in the US or North America. So, and things are opening up there. So, and we're heading towards summer. So, sunscreen summer. I mean, let's see what happens in terms of sales and let's see what they're providing to the market. Market update June 22nd to June 22 versus June 2020. So they're comparing like beginning of the pandemic, severe pandemic to what's happening now. But that's June 2020 was probably when their reporting was for the year before, really, so wasn't it? So, key highlights of this update are as follows. At this stage, our previously announced forecast of revenue for FY 2022 of 13.5 million. And versus 6.5 million for 2021. So, it's almost, the revenue's gone up, but yes, last year was kind of a terrible year. It remains on track, subject to no delays in raw materials or changes from customers, and the presentation covers the following items. So we can see, I mean, if you're on YouTube or on Spotify video, you'll be able to see this. I'll explain it more for those on audio elsewhere like Apple Podcasts and etc. So gross manufacturing margin in FY20 was 47, and estimated 22 is 54. So 47 to 54. What else have we got interesting there? They talk about costs. Electricity costs have gone down. They've installed solar, 20k solar, and fixed asset cost is it was 8.6 in 20 and 14 in 22. And sales and revenue, so for 2020 it was 17.67, and for 2022 13.5, which is less than 20. But that's if you didn't know much about the company, you didn't look at it, you think, oh yeah, that the revenue's gone down. But here we can see this. This is my Guru Focus financials, and I found it's pretty accurate in terms of invested capital and things. So I work things out myself, but this is it's a good guide. It's a good guide. And so revenue, so trailing 12 months, they've got 8.68 here, and they're estimating 13.5, and that is actually back. You can see on the screen that's back to around in between June, the year June, because this is Australia we're talking about. In between the year, financial year is to mid-year in Australia. June 2019 was 12.26 million, and June 2020 was 17.97. So they're guiding between that. So things seem to be looking up, even though you could say, things are still not great around the world in terms of supply chains and travel and so forth. But people are starting to travel a bit more, definitely. Things are opening up. We could say that. Things could definitely go south again, but we just don't know. So they're estimating is not too bad. For this financial year is not too bad. And another thing, while I'm looking at the financials, let me go up here to returns on investment. So one of the things that attracted to me this company in the first place was you look at return on capital employed, which do work out manually, but this is not a bad guide, I think. So in 2017 it was 8.688, which is not, it was negative before that because this is a relatively new company. Well, and not new company, but new, let's say a new approach, new strategy, new products, etc. So 6.88% in 2017, went up to 18, then 20, and then June 2020 was 30.58 return on capital employed, and then the next year, 2021, pandemic year, it went down negative, and we're looking at maybe turning up again. But anyway, it was promising, and return on invested capital was similar, higher, but return on capital employed was particularly interesting. And gross margin was around, in 2021 was 73, so pretty good, not bad at all. This is not a software company, and gross margins are still pretty good. So this is what attracted me, and the net margin is pretty good. It was around, at highest was in 2019, 78. Anyway, low debt, etc. So let's just look at what they got to say. This is what sort of attracted me to this microcap. Microcap being, okay, so let's just see how much. So we're talking about enterprise value of 133 million, market cap 131. So definitely in microcap territory. We're not talking about $1 billion company here. Or is it in the future? That's what we want to know. I'm going to take a sip of coffee here, excuse me. So if you can see on the screen, I'll explain on audio, they've got the geographic reach of their products. Advance ZincTek Ltd has in excess of 40 plus brands worldwide using our product. So you'll notice they're all Sunscreens, it's their major product. And USA, 94 brands, Asia, 20 brands, Australia, 30 plus brands. I do have some of this, sample the product. I bought some sunscreen over the summer from via Australia. Can't remember the name of it now, but it's kind of it's not incredibly creamy. It's quite, you rub it on and it's sort of, you really have to rub it in. So it's the part of the Zinc Clear, their product Zinc Clear is, it's got zinc in it. If you're old enough, you might remember, or you can still get it probably, as zinc. Sports people put it on, like in my part of the world, cricketers, because they have to stand out all day. Cricket's a long game, right? So they stand out all day in the sun, like in Australia and New Zealand. And, it totally covers. You've got like white, years ago they had fluorescent colors, and it totally covers the skin. It's like a cover, kind of like war paint or something like that. But now their technology is that it's able to be clear, and I have tried it. It's true, it's clear. It's still a little bit not completely clear. You really have to rub it in, but it's definitely, can see how I can see the benefits of the product, and it's part of the reason why I like it. And it's also sort of chemical, easy on the environment. So, like you would have heard of reef safe products. So this their products are apparently reef safe, and so the more and more product places around the world will be, not having sunscreen and water in say lakes or rivers or around reefs or whatever, marine sanctuaries. So I think this is the way it's a promising product for sure. But they do have competitors, but I think they're well ahead. So that's my opinion. None of this is investment advice. I own this, and as you can see, it's down for me. So there's no guarantees it will ever go up again. So get your own, do your own work and get financial advice. So 2020 versus 2022. So this is a table of what's changed. Okay, so this is the bad stuff pretty much. What's changed from 2020 to 2022? So we've got they've got it. If you're not on video, they've got a big red cross or a tick. So what's happening versus 20 to 2022? COVID and COVID travel restrictions. Tick. Yes, still going. It's a bit confusing because a green tick, so in a black and a red cross. So global inflation impact on raw materials, packaging, and consumables. Yes. Energy shortages, particularly in Europe and China, creating manufacturing delays. Yes. Container shortages creating shipping delays. Yes. None of these all of these are yes, by the way. Shipping costs up 3 to 6 times, including costs and availability of air freight. So they're in Australia, they manufacture in Australia, and they're shipping to primary markets, the US, so they do have to ship. So you can see how much disruption that they would have had over the last couple of years. Interest rate increases forcing our customers to reduce inventory. Check. War in Europe negatively impacting business confidence in EU and USA. Check. So a lot of these are similar for a lot of companies, right? This is a general market concern, but this company is not. It's not like software where they do have to ship product physically. Company highlights. Okay, this is interesting. So 145% revenue growth year on year, but okay, that sounds good, right? But 36% below 2020. So they're just kind of clawing back to where they were pretty much, and that's why there's a big reason that stock price has plummeted. But is the stock market's forward thinking? How forward thinking is it? Is my question. Inventory, because it's inventory increases from 8.45 million in one location to 10.5 million in 3 locations. Okay, that's in Australia, Europe, and the USA. Reduction in wages of approximately 1 million with no loss of key production and development staff. So they've decreased their wage costs. Debt-free cash at bank, 1.3 million, estimated 2.4 by the end of 2022. Okay, so this is definitely getting in the weeds here a little bit. Let's see the key metrics. Gross it's good to do this. We don't actually get much information from this company, to be honest, not very often. They don't do investment. They don't do like quarterly calls. They don't provide much information, and that's often the case with microcaps. They don't. This is part of it. It's not like there's a lot of analysts on it, and there's a lot of attention on the company, and so. But this is one of the possible upsides to microcaps, right? There's not a lot following it, so that's why it's worth going in depth and following what they're doing. So key metrics: gross manufacturing margins increased 54.6% from 47%. Corporate overheads relatively flat at 515k versus 470. Wages have significantly decreased to 1.5 million versus 2.57 million. Gosh, they have decreased wages there. Other operating, so they would have had to batten down the hatches because of this. I mean, this is all, of course, every company unexpected. Even Tesla came out in a couple of days that they're cutting salaried staff by 10%, and they've kind of had some of the best financials or best results in the world, really. And so everybody's been cutting back. So other operating costs have also decreased 560K from 775K. So they're decreasing costs for sure. And let's see, revenue by region. This is interesting because we can see clearly that USA and Canada is way ahead of anything else. Most of their revenue comes from there. So, basically when the US shut down and, obviously summer sunscreen, right? So we're coming up to summer and this will be way more open than it has been. People will be traveling, although, say oil, people won't be traveling on the roads, but will they be outside? You could say they will be outside in the sun. I would say that's, this is probably going to be a summer that, compared to the last couple of years, people will be out traveling, having fun outside, even though you could go outside during the pandemic. But, I mean, people's minds are more on, I think, opening up and getting outside for sure. That's just my opinion. So Europe and Australia and Asia have sales, but, USA is way ahead. So in FY20, distributors were required to keep a minimum of 6 months stock. It was the first year we had spare stock to supply. Okay, that's interesting. That's in fine print there. And they've got a little bit of a company timeline. If you're interested in this company, I'd recommend having a look at this for sure. So it goes back to 1987, and I won't go into detail there, but it's interesting to have a look at that. So about us, I should have probably done this first, but whatever. So we have so publicly listed on the ASX in 2005, debt-free, blah, blah, blah. Australia's largest zinc oxide manufacturer with capacity of 5,000 tonnes. Currently, stock available ex-US and Netherlands warehouses, working on dual listing on Nasdaq, aiming for early 2023. So that will be interesting too if they get to list in the US. That's where the biggest market is. There should be more attention. Although, the Nasdaq's in a bear market, so it's not like, those companies that IPO'd and listed in the US during 2020. So they might end up listing at a time where it's a terrible time to do so. But nevertheless, it should bring more attention to a little bit more attention, depending on how it goes. It would be interesting. So, as I say, the SPF. So this is the sunscreen. 6 vegan organic zinc and zinc-based powders, 4 vegan organic zinc and zinc-based dispersion. So you get the picture. So that's ingredients for sunscreen, and they sell it to manufacturers and distribute it. And another one, cosmetic illusion, it's called. New high purity, that's a tick, high purity illusion under development. So another product under development. And then the cosmetics market. So, zinc oxide is increasing and should be increasing in popularity, but we've had this big COVID disruption. So they talk about the competitive advantages here versus competitors, and they list some of what Nanophase Technologies Corporation from the earnings call transcript that says, we are currently in the process of implementing a double-digit price increase. This increase will largely address margin issues created by increases in material and labor costs. So the headline of this section is, key competitors are raising prices versus our gross manufacturing margin F20 47% versus F22 56%. So what they're saying is their manufacturing margin is going up, and competitors are having to raise prices, so they're kind of cost competitive. Improvement in and another competitor, EverZinc. So they have Zinc Clear and there's EverZinc, pretty similar. We continue to experience significant energy costs increases, mainly gas and energy, but also increased complexity in supply chains and logistics hurdles, as well as backlogs around the world, which have significantly and persistently increased the costs of our operations. We have been able to absorb some of these additional costs through cost control measures, but today the sustainability of our company, however, objectively requires us to increase our prices. So yeah, without major price rises and through cost control. All right. So, and they say Advance ZincTek only has 7-day ex-warehouse lead time for Australia, Europe, and USA. Competitors such as Kobo, Kobo, blah, blah, blah. All right. Well, we don't need to go into that, but basically they're saying that the costs are better and they can manufacture cheaper. And so economies of scale would be interesting there too as they grow. If they grow, they should grow. I mean, I see this investment myself, by the way, as I've kind of copy-canned it. I bought it and then I thought, is this company going to be bigger in 5 or 10 years? As organic or safer less chemical free, we could say sunscreen. Well, green chemical sunscreen. Is it going to be, it's mineral sunscreen, that's what it is, not chemical free, mineral sunscreen. Is it going to become more popular? And I say yes, because of environmental reasons, reef safe, etc. People becoming more conscious of what they're rubbing on their skin. So I just think, sort of try not to be too, to look at the share price all the time. I don't. And it's down, as I said, down 45% for me, but where will it be in 5-10 years? So zinc clear XP non-nano powder designed to be tinted. So they're talking about this is competitive advantages, and they go into it in kind of great depth. Iron oxide enhanced protection against skin damage. Iron oxide is novel skin care formulations, attenuate blue light, blah blah. Zinc Clear X is designed to provide exceptional UVB and SPF 228 mil. Okay, I'm not going to go on with that. That's but basically what they're saying is that they've got a technological advantage, innovation advantage. But that's, yeah, I mean, from an investment point of view, it's not completely, that's not what you'd call a competitive advantage. It can be, but you have to stay ahead, and there are other competitive advantages are better. I won't go into that today. Dark skin tones are more susceptible to immediate pigment darkening, they say. Number 6, lest you think this is a new notion, check out our reference. Okay, blah blah. I mean, that's not what investors would call competitive advantage, really. It's just about designed to be tinted, so it's competitive, better against their competitors. But that doesn't mean, we're not talking about what we think of as competitive advantages. Okay, so competing chemical UV filters. Okay, that's health and safety, blah blah blah. Achievements. Okay, this is interesting, I think, for me. Advance ZincTek has been busy clocking up several milestones in FY 2022. Revenue, as they said, 45% revenue growth compared to FY 21, but 36% below 2020. Revenue between 2020 and 2022 is on par, given distributors are required to keep a minimum 6-month stock. Equipment. Replaced old equipment. 80% of the manufacturing equipment in Brisbane is new. Capacity remains at 5,000 megatons. Megatons. Market share in the USA. Here we go. This is what you want when you're talking about competitive advantages. Market share in the USA is 14% in calendar 2021. Grown our zinc sales in Europe to 1.2 million in 2022, and further 4 companies are considering our products for customers. So is that 14% market share for zinc? I doubt it. I think that's probably overall sunscreen, I would say. I'll have to look into that much more if I can get any information on that. Expenses, reduction in our energy costs per unit because of our PV panels and our negotiated new rates. So the competitors were talking about how they've got increasing power costs, especially in Europe, with the whole war situation. But their costs are going down. Inventory cash. Inventory increases from 8.45 million in one location to 10.5 million in 3 locations. Okay, we knew that. Wages, reduction in wages of approximately 1 million with no loss of key production and development staff. It sounds like what Tesla said, where they're decreasing salaries and keeping on actual production staff in the factories. Okay, 7 months in there. Okay, company snapshot. Price, we've seen the share price. Key figures. The Microcap group owns 49%, reducing blah blah blah. So the chairman here, Lev Mizikovsky, I'm probably said butchering that, but he is a kind of well-known entrepreneur and has had previous success, and he's been over time been buying up shares of this company, so he's got good skin in the game. And I believe Jeff Acton, who's the managing director of 6 years, talks about being personal because he's had many skin cancer operations over the years since 2005 or something. So he sort of sees this as a personal. They talk about that. So products, there's a map of the world. We can see the US, Canada distributors remained at 2, which is not very many. European distributors increased to 7 from 3, and Asian distributors increased from 8 to 6. Capacity stock 5,000 MT production capacity versus 2,400 MT in 2020. So they've kind of more than doubled their production capacity. Stock available for immediate delivery in Europe, US, and Australia. Raw materials ingredients of 30,000 MT in stock and a further 279 MT ordered. Okay, that's it. That's about it. That's their update, and it's good to see an update. Oh, wait, there's more. There's one more. So we're talking about funding and margins. Board has implemented a dividend reinvestment plan. I don't care about dividends, and rather they reinvest in the company rather than doing a dividend. Released in conjunction with this presentation, capital investments will be funded by increases in sales and internal cash generation. Good. Nil capital raisings are expected for the foreseeable future. Good. Gross manufacturing margin has increased from 47 to 54. Corporate overheads increased to 515 from 470. Wages down, as we know. Other operating costs have gone down from 775 to 560. And that's it. That's all we've got. So, and also one more thing on their website. They've got a new website which is like pink. There we go. This is where I saw this. It's not just business, it's personal. Meet Advance ZincTek Ltd /Antaria's managing director Jeff Acton. He says, as a person who has had 32 skin cancer procedures since 2005, for me these zinc-based products are not just about business, it's personal. And there's a picture on the website of his sort of scarring from their operations. Wow, that's a lot, man. That's a lot. I've experienced, not myself, but in my family, and it can spread. And anyway, it's serious business, so it's a good, I like the company for that reason. So, partly. Advance ZincTek annual production capacity for zinc oxide powder 5,000 tons, 22 production products on offer. 100% vegan natural zinc oxide powders, bulk sunscreen and dispersions, 23 countries supported by 15 international distributors. Made in Australia. We manufacture under strict TGA requirements and are fully GMP certified. We have warehouse facilities in the US and Europe to ensure stock is available for immediate delivery. And I know they had problems with that during COVID, of course, and so still experiencing that. Okay, we're up to about 30 minutes here, so that's probably about enough. Kind of getting into the weeds a little bit. It's just a market update. This is the way I'm just doing this. This is the way I actually look at things, and so I just thought I'd share it. It's not investment advice at all, and it's just the conclusion is that I think it's kind of on track, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens over the summer and their full year financial results. That's just an estimate that they're taking out they said to brokers. It was on the 1st of June, so I'm not selling or anything, and it'd be interesting to see when the world opens up and people are traveling it, and especially in Northern Hemisphere over the summer, see how, and monitoring kind of media coverage of these kinds of sunscreens and products as well. All right, so if you found any value in this, like and subscribe for video on YouTube and Spotify and audio everywhere else, Apple, Google Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. We'll be there. If we're not somewhere, let me know, and I'll see if I can sort that out. And join me on Twitter at The Art of Value. As I said, I'll be putting the first 30 to 45 seconds of this on there. And so click the link if you won't be listening to this right now because we're 30 minutes in. All right, so see you next time.